I think it's more important to figure out what you want and then work for that. Because if you don't figure out what you want, then other people are going to tell you what you should want.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another episode. With us today is the co-founder and creative director of Snap Advantage, Sandra Kokotovic. She owns a boutique marketing agency helping brands mostly in the biohacking and health space scale. Sandra, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. It's a Tuesday and the sun is shining where I'm calling from. We're coming from 4 feet of snow with 3 snowstorms in the last week alone. Honestly, I'm happy. It's bright, it's sunny, it's good.
That is wonderful. It is a bright sunny day here as well, and we're surviving the snow as well. But wanted to learn more about your journey. It looks like you started not only with building a seven-figure e-commerce brand, but then starting this boutique marketing agency. Tell me more about this journey that you went on. What were you doing before that led you into doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, I definitely didn't grow up thinking I'm going to be a digital marketer. That was not what I was answering at school when they were asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? But I always wanted to travel and have freedom over where I'm located, where I'm working from, and who I'm working with, because that's really important. You spend so much time at work because we have to make a living, all of us, most of us. And becoming an e-com entrepreneur and a digital marketing agency owner kind of happened by chance. Before this, I thought I wanted to work for the government. So again, I like to travel. I like my free time. I come from Romania, just a side step. And in Romania, 5, 6, 7, 8 week vacations per year is a normal thing. So we're moving to Canada in 2005, and I'm learning that here 2 weeks is the norm. 2 weeks is barely like one vacation plus taking a few days off here and there. So growing up, I love to travel and I like to have time freedom. So government jobs is it. That was before the techie scene kind of came to Canada the way it was in the States. So I thought I was going to work for the government, majored in business and French, because here you have to speak both languages fluently. And I did that for a while and definitely not my cup of tea. I had the opportunity to do a lot of good work with the employment sector. And then I went into sales and I was like, at least sales is more dynamic. I can work in the tech companies. If you make the money, they'll give you time off. But then I met my current husband and he was an internet guy. I had no idea what that was. I just knew that he was selling jewelry online. And he took me on a mastermind in Bali where I found about internet marketing. And I saw a lot of marketers that were just selling things online with no background in marketing from anywhere in the world. And I was like, I'm just going to start drop shipping. I told Serge, I don't care what you need me to do. I'll work for a company. Please hire me. I want to quit. So I quit the day after I came back from Bali and we started a marketing agency. And that was the journey.
Wow, that is incredible. So now from all that experience, fast forward to today, tell me more about the individuals you help, some of the campaigns you're running, just life now as to where you are today.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing. Throughout the 8 years that I've had this agency, I haven't been a fan of taking those guru advices of like niche down, niche down, niche down. This was super recent. So over the last 8 years, it was quite eclectic. I would say in the best way possible because that allowed me to learn a lot of marketing strategies and see what we like, what we can do, what we can help. So we started our agency. We started working in lead generations. We work with finance, mortgage, insurance, and I don't want to call them boring, but let's say not so sexy industries. And we help them get more leads, right? Anybody that needed an appointment to create business. But then we started another e-commerce store. So we had one when we started our journey. We ended up selling it. We traveled, lost a lot of money, and had to make it back. In the meantime, we started hearing aids brands. So we kind of put our agency on pause for a while, started a hearing aid brand, and that was one of the two that became a seven-figure store in the first year, actually. But then I got shut down by Meta ads. I was a victim, like a lot of other business owners slash coaches, entrepreneurs, and anyone that's run Meta ads, they've been victimized by it. I can assure you. And so we lost our account, we lost our 6-figure months, and we're like, oh boy, what do we do now? Because we rely on ads to make money. And we said, you know what, let's figure out how else we can scale. So then we started focusing more on content marketing, Pinterest, influencers, partners, brand ambassadors, email marketing, text marketing. And when we saw that that worked, we were like, let's work with brands that we know have the same problems. So I told you I like traveling. In 2020, January, we sold everything we had and we moved to Thailand. And then in March, we had to come back because of COVID. So we came back to Canada. We're like, this is a perfect opportunity to help businesses that need help because it's so chaotic out there right now. So then the journey has become, let's help brands that need to scale, that have hit a ceiling. Maybe there are a few $1 million a year, but they can't really put in the same dollar in and get the same amount of dollars out from ads, whether it's Google or Meta, and see how else we can help them scale. And we started helping them scale by either building their brand assets, like an email list or a text list, or leveraging assets they currently have. That could also mean influencers, brand ambassadors, anything they can own and leverage that is not dependent necessarily on a platform. Because when you're bidding on Meta, for instance, you're competing on the same piece of expensive real estate called a feed. Tough, right? It's easier to be in someone's inbox or easier to be on an influencer's video, for instance. So then we started working with companies that needed that service. So niching down to biohacking and wellness, it just happened that we started working with a lot of biohacking companies, everything from like peptides and red light therapy, cryotherapy, cold plunges, you name it. And we just started to move into that direction, but it's definitely been very eclectic.
That is such a cool journey, and it's important not to put all your eggs in one basket. Unfortunately, many people have suffered from the hands of Meta or the hands of Google as well, where unfortunately relying on those channels. I think it's just important to take a multi-channel approach. People prefer email or direct message or prefer being served ads in a different way. That's how you want to connect with them and then serve them. In the past 8 years from being for everybody, but having some specifics and now niching down, what do you think is the biggest reason for success? Because it's like whatever business you decide to start is successful. Why? How? What is that secret ingredient that you can just walk in anywhere and just figure things out?
Not every business I started was successful. I like to talk about the successful ones. Between the first seven-figure store and the second seven-figure store, there was a lot of money spent, a lot of lessons learned, and I came to a point where we were honestly broke. We went back to work. But in terms of the key to success, I would say show up and do the damn work, man. Things that are so obvious to some of us, they're not so obvious to others. And it's so easy to get discouraged, especially when you're at the beginning of the journey. And it's so easy to say, I'm not attacking any group of people or any mentality here, but maybe the mentality a little bit because the mentality is a choice. But I think we live a little bit in entitlement phase, especially from a certain generation. I'm attacking, but we are entitled, right? So there's a lot of TikTok videos where they're talking about like, it's 5:01 p.m. I'm going to hit close on the Zoom call. Well, if they want to give me more responsibilities, they should pay me more versus I grew up, but the mentality that I grew up in was, hey, I'm going to do anything I can to have access to my boss, my boss's boss, my boss's boss's boss. And if that means getting more projects, heck yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to earn the same right now for a few months, but at least I'm going to gain the experience that I'm going to hit them with the bill. So I feel like just showing up and doing the work and just being the hardest worker around you or in your ecosystem, honestly, is half of the battle. That's also like an immigrant mentality because we came here to the West, to North America, Canada, right? I didn't speak English when I moved here. We had no background on what Canada was, to be honest, other than what my one uncle that lived here said. We just knew we wanted a better life. I got scolded at school in the first day because I wasn't standing for the anthem. You have to stand and be quiet for the anthem. I had no idea. So as an immigrant, you have to be hardworking because you don't have friends. You don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, and what you have is honestly the books, right? And that work ethic. And then your parents are like engineers back home. They come here and they just like work at Old Navy and whatever else my parents did. So I would say that be a hard worker. Second is solve problems. So what I learned is that people, your worth is not determined by what you think you're worth. Your worth is determined by the problems that you solve. Like you're not worth $1 million unless you solve $1 million problem. So if you solve problems, you're going to get paid. I learned that people don't care about your background so much. They don't care about, like, I was in my early 20s, like, when I started doing this. I was just like, chicken. I don't want guys to call me sweetie and think I don't have experience and whatever. Nobody cared. I was afraid to work from other countries because people would think that I'm going to scam them. But what I realized is that you need to solve problems. And the more expensive, the more painful the problems, the more money you're going to make. It's not just about making sure you take everything down on a list of scope. It's about the problems that you solve. So number one, Really three things, because there's a lot of things that help me. But number one is outwork everybody. Number two is solve problems. Just figure out how to solve problems. And number three, I would say whoever you work with, make them look good. Did it take me a while to learn this? Like if you're working with those people will always have either investors they have to answer to, customers they have a reputation to uphold in front of, another boss, another partner, another manager. If you make them look good, then they're going to reward you. So looking good doesn't mean like complimenting them and whatever, but I have clients that are head office needs blah, blah, blah strategy. Can you do this for me? And I'm like, yeah, I will. And I'll do it within the day and I'll package it up and I'll just give them a presentation, put their name on it, not even mine. Why? Because they're going to come back to me and they're going to give me more business. They're going to be in my corner and they look good. I look good. Everybody wins. So I would say these three things, if I've been putting them in practice lately, it's what's been helping me keep moving forward. So yeah, outwork everybody, solve expensive problems, and make the people that are paying you look good. And I think it's a good head start. My God, I'm sorry. That was a very long is.
No, I was gonna open this up for a top
Yeah.
10 actually, because I'm like, just keep those coming because the top 3 were already fantastic. One, you even gotta show up and do the damn work. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs fail because they're just not willing to show up and to do the work. And I think later on, they either realize that or it takes a little time for them to get through that. Number 2 and 3 is absolutely excellent as well because, again, it's not based on what you think your value is. It's based on what other people are willing to pay for that. And oftentimes you can blow your own expectations a little bit and be like, wow, people are willing to pay that amount for this
Exactly.
service.
Absolutely. Where I was 8 years ago, I wouldn't even be dreaming of what I'm charging right now, to be honest. And the reason is because I had a limited mindset. In my mind, is like, I wouldn't pay that much money for a service. Why would someone else pay that much money for a service? And then what I realized is back to problem solving. The companies that I work with, the people that I work with, it's not like they don't know how to Google or figure out a solution. Is that they don't have the time and their attention is being spent somewhere else. So if you're thinking about the most successful businesses and people in the world, what are they, what is the most precious thing to them, right? It's time and attention. Like you only have so many decisions you can make in a day. It's not like a 20 mil a year company owner doesn't know how to write an email campaign. They absolutely do. They can figure it out, but they just don't have the bandwidth to do that over and over again every day. So when I realized that I don't have to know everything right now, I just have to figure out how to solve problems. And I just continued learning and learning. Like I'm born knowing Klaviyo or MailChimp or whatever. Frankly, I have to do a HubSpot project soon. I haven't worked with HubSpot in a while, but like I'm going to figure it out. And my client is okay with it that I'm not that familiar with it because he knows that I can figure it out and solve that problem for him.
Yes, absolutely. It's not always knowing about everything, just being willing to learn more and to figure stuff out. Just as you mentioned, a lot of these CEOs and companies, they're just willing to pay someone who knows either a little bit more or can just simply take something off their plate. Th-
Exactly.
They're willing to hire out for those services because either they can't do it in house or it's going to be cheaper just to do a one time thing with this, or they're testing a few different agencies. That's the benefit of having a temp worker where you could potentially cycle through a few different ones to find the right fit. That's one of the benefits. So, the work that you're doing for clients, it was within the lead generation, and now you're going into a different space. Is it
Mhm.
still focused on the lead generation, getting the booked appointments to show up? How do you kind of go through that process with your clients? And what strategies are you implementing for them now in 2025?
Yeah, I've been trying very hard to keep at one service and nobody wants one service. Everybody wants everything because the ecosystem works together. So to give you like a plain picture, we decided to niche down more into the biohacking and wellness space. Now, within that space, there's two types of businesses. One, it's like local brick and mortar service businesses. So imagine a biohacking lab, cold plunge, sauna, day spa, those kind of places. And then there's also the e-com companies like a red light panel. There are cold plunge you can buy for home. So we work with both, and that's because we've had training in both and we've had so many case studies in both. So for the local businesses, we are doing the whole lead gen system from the cold ad, getting people into like a Calendly, sort of whatever system they're using, getting them to book appointments, following up with them and making sure they show up to the appointments. And then in between all of that, we're adding in content marketing, local SEO, influencer marketing, brand ambassadors, and email and text. Now, for the e-com brands, usually we work with the companies that are already doing ads. They don't want to spend more money on ads in order to scale. So maybe they have an email list, but they're not using it that much. Like I've worked with companies that had an email list of like 150,000 people, subscribers, and they never used it. They're like one-time customers. I haven't emailed them in like a year. I'm like, oh my goodness, we can do so much with it. We did $2 million in 1 year with that one email list. So these are the companies that need to scale and they need to diversify, whether that's diversifying traffic sources or just diversify what they're doing with their current assets. They're sending one campaign a week now, but they need to be sending 5 and different types of emails. Maybe they don't have a rewards points program. They need more referrals. They need more repeat businesses. Maybe they are doing okay with ads, but they need to diversify the type of ads they're doing, right? Like they're not doing TikTok, they're not doing Pinterest. So for those companies, we're diversifying their traffic sources and then their digital assets. So those are the kind of projects that we're involved with right now.
I I love that. And when you spoke about how we tried doing one service, but then the clients wanted more, it just had to go back to full service. And it is just a part of the full system, the ecosystem that
Yeah,
is created. Because once you're creating this content, you need that anyways. Then that can be optimized for SEO. And then that can be broken down into shorts and smaller pieces of
exactly.
social content. So if you're doing one piece, might as well just do a little bit of everything because it's a part of your entire brand, the visibility, the way that leads are nurtured. Maybe just a single email can convince someone to buy, but what helped nurture them along that journey is the blog post that you made about that and the video and the social media
Exactly.
that they saw. So all of that really plays into the buyer's journey and their decision-making
Exactly.
process.
That's bingo. That's exactly it. So my dream of being an email marketer, working my sweatpants from behind the scenes and pounding through emails, don't know if it's that feasible anymore. And I am okay with it.
Just setting up the journey that you want for your life at that time and
Yeah.
just playing with the hand that you're dealt with the cards. Especially, I think a lot of us, many entrepreneurs, we were going to new heights in 2020. That was the next year. And then it absolutely crashing down. So the fact that 2 months prior, you had already sold everything, made this life changing decision, and then had to run back to it. Something to be said about running out of money or just the fear to be a motivator for us in our own businesses. It's kind of like, wow, when the fire is really lit under you, it's incredible what we're capable of doing
Yes.
and what we can accomplish in such a small amount of time. When you get to that level of comfort where you have more financial security, does your motivation change at all? Are you less or more motivated, seeing more money coming in?
Yeah, I feel like I do. Yes, so when we sold everything, actually the first time we left for Bali in Thailand in 2017 and we came back with tail between our legs. We had a lot of failed ventures. We tried it all from phone cases, canvases, t-shirts, mugs. We tried so many things and they just didn't work out and we had to go back to work. But honestly, our jobs are only good enough to pay for our bills. They're not good enough to pay for the debt. They were not good enough to pay for growth and for the future. So we worked in the mornings from like 5 a.m. until 8 a.m. We worked on our business and then went to work and then at night again. Now, I have been so stressed about money. My biggest fear for years and years was I don't want to go broke. Part of it is because I went broke and I don't want that again. It's so uncomfortable. So that just kept me driving and driving. But then again, even this growth was not linear. It was up and down. Now, my fear is not going broke again because I've been broke. I've done it before. I know what I can charge. I can charge again. I can find clients again. So I feel like the more you do something, the more confidence you have in you're going to do it again. If everything failed for me tomorrow, let's say all of my clients left, all of my team left, and it was just me, I'd be like, okay, I know exactly what to do. It's going to be uncomfortable and annoying, but I know what to do. Now, as for the motivation to keep going, yes, the motivation goes away a little bit when you're starting to have a little bit more success, when you are comfortable. And I feel comfort zone is one of the most dangerous freaking places you can be in. So what we started doing, we had stores that worked really well. When we had our like $1 million store, we were making good profits, but we were spending money. We were balling in Bali. And instead of thinking, how can we grow even more? We're coasting. And now what we started doing is we have bigger goals. We push ourselves to new limits. We find projects for growth. We're taking on bigger clients that we have to perform better. And we're just on a path for more and more. It's like we keep stretching ourselves to continue growing. And then I like to spend money. My husband today was like, "Is that another Sephora package?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." But then one of my friends called me right before this podcast and she's like, "Another Sephora pilot." And I'm like, "See, that's the support that I need." And I'm like, but what we think about the goals and then we keep working on those goals. We want to have some sort of success. Then we get out of debt. We got out of debt. What is the next thing? Well, the next thing is we want to travel, but I want to travel and afford to eat out and blah, blah. So we keep pushing the goal higher and higher, Grant Cardone style. And you have to show up and perform. I have a team. I have clients. I can't just like screw off in Bali. Even if I go to Bali, I have to work. So it can be demotivating, though. I'm sorry. I know long answers here, but it can be demotivating. But also, like, motivation comes and goes, right? I think it's more important to figure out what you want and then work for that. Because if you don't figure out what you want, then other people are going to tell you what you should want. Other people are going to tell you what you should deserve. But if you keep pushing the goal and the targets, then you create your narrative and you're going to stay motivated. Like, I like myself first, though. So I'm going to keep working so I can afford myself.
And anything I can do to support that, I'm going to continue doing. But those are your goals. That's what you're hoping for. And one thing that you mentioned that really drove home is about you willing to show up and put in that work. And you've been broke before. You've had failures, but you've been successful. You can do it again. You can absolutely repeat that again. But the biggest thing is that you're constantly pushing yourself. You're striving to be better. And that comfort level of wanting to challenge ourselves and do something more outside of our comfort zone, that becomes easier once the comfort level of staying the same
Yeah,
just eats away at us. We're like, oh my goodness, I can't imagine doing something new versus I can't imagine staying the same and
exactly.
expecting these same results.
Exactly. And there's exercises for this. The first day of my one good job that I had in sale, I had a mentor and he told me something that stuck with me and I think it'll stick with me for a long time. He said, do something that scares you every day. And I was doing cold calls at that time. I was doing 100 cold calls a day. That was very scary to call people. And I say comfort zone is one of the most dangerous places you can be in. I like to be comfortable in my sweatpants, don't get me wrong. I like to be comfortable on the couch. I like to watch Netflix. But to me, there's no bigger satisfaction than building something, conquering something, and then just feeling like, yeah, man, I did it. Whether that's like a diet or working out or money or a new client or something like that. If anyone is like looking to, how do I get out of the comfort zone a little bit? I mean, one thing you can do is build a podcast. It is pretty freaking scary to put yourself out there. You don't know what guests you're gonna have. You don't know how they're gonna react, what they're gonna do. You don't know how they're gonna promote your content. Being a guest on a podcast can be one. Making a phone call, like a cold call, doing cold plunges, like cold showers in the morning. I'm so annoyed. Like I have these 10 pounds of fat. I really want to do that too. And I was like, for the next few weeks, I'm going to do 2 workouts a day. And it is insane because I'm exhausted. Like this day too, I'm doing cardio in the morning and I'm doing weights at night. And it was so hard to do, especially after yesterday, because when I just started yesterday and today I showed up, but like I did it. And now I did this hard thing in the morning. People don't like cardio, okay? I did this hard thing in the morning. Nothing can phase me today. I was sweating in the other room on that bike. I was sweating. I was just drenched. I'm sore from yesterday. I have to show up again tonight, but I'm ready for the day. You do a cold shower after, like nothing's gonna phase you. You're prepared.
But showing up.
What you can do to push yourself, and then it sets up your day in such a much better way, my opinion.
Absolutely. Challenging ourselves, doing something that you really don't want to do just to start the day, or even taking on a work project that, okay, if I just take care of the really hard one first, I can get that out of the way. And that sets us up for a better day. We start making
Yeah,
better decisions to start influencing us to make better
yeah,
decisions, better actions. And that's really important, especially trying to look at that goal. What do I need to achieve it? And then no matter how much pain you're in, how sore you are, or how tired you are, you're still showing up and you're going to give 100%. Are business owners sweating in their business? Are they really pushing themselves? Are they working out as hard? Or are they just kind of like casually walking around, maybe a brisk walk, but
yeah.
whatever works for them and their goals and their business. But it's important to set your mindset right starting the day and challenging yourself, pushing yourself even further.
I think so too. And again, have a goal. In my opinion, having a goal is so much for any sort of success in any area of your life.
Absolutely. Sandra, now where can people find out more about you, get connected with you online?
Sure, I am on LinkedIn a lot. So Sandra Kokotovic is my LinkedIn name. I am redoing my website right now, snapadvantage.com. So it is kind of like in construction, but snapadvantage.com or look up Sandra Kokotovic on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok. I'm on all social media channels.
Very nice. And we'll have those links available down in the show notes and the description. Sandra, just a few minutes left, but we wanted to ask you, what are you looking forward to in 2025? Seems like you got some exciting irons in the fire right now, maybe some more travel plans. What are you looking forward to?
Definitely travel plans. I have a lot of trips planned. So I'm taking advantage of being in North America right now. And I definitely want to come back to the States for a little bit. I haven't visited the States in a while. So hopefully I can do some California, Oregon, and Washington little trip. Maybe even like stop in Vegas on the way back. I love Vegas.
Yeah, me too. It's a great place. It's magical.
Exactly. Maybe some islands, and then I'm gonna go back to Europe for a few months and then check out some wine and croissants and cheeses. In terms of work, I am super excited to start launching some good guides, hopefully, ideally, a little course. So I said that I cannot do one thing and I cannot clone myself. And unfortunately, we are limited with what we're doing within our business. And not everybody is ready to work with us. Not everybody needs to work with us yet. So my solution to that is if I can help a business in any way, whether that is through a mini course or some guides, checklists, any sort of content I can help with, I'm planning to do that in the later part of the year. So yeah, stay tuned. They're going to be on the website.
That is very exciting. Always good to have content that just answers a lot of those common questions, nurtures them along in the journey. And anything that helps you put your knowledge out there that helps other people, that is a win-win for us in our business. Sandra, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on and sharing your journey with us. Wish you all the best and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.